Hello, this is Success. How may I help you?
All right. So, Blake, the first thing I want to ask you is what exactly, I'd like you to introduce yourself and what exactly it is that you do, man.
Cool, yeah. So my name is Blake Wynn. I'm 19 years old. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada. I run a marketing company where there's aspects of personal branding, consulting, and essentially we've signed athletes as well that we do all their brand deals and endorsements and things like that as well for. So there's definitely several components to what it is, but I would say marketing's the overarching umbrella that kind of fits in everything that I'm doing these days.
Cool. All right, man. So, how did you get started? I mean, it's kind of insane. 19 years old, helping out with the LA Chargers and
Yeah.
a million subs on YouTube.
Yeah, so it was funny. So I resold sneakers on eBay starting when I was 11 years old. And by the time I was 13, I was top rated on eBay, so it was going well. But then from the time I was 14, 15, 16, it was doing well, but it wasn't really growing. And I wanted to scale it. And so to add marketing to that, I started reaching out to influencers to see what they cost so that way I could promote on their platforms. And the prices were astronomical. And I was like, okay, I got to do this myself. And so I started my own YouTube channel. And my early videos, you can literally see I'm marketing my products. My early videos are, hey, I have a size 12 Jordan 1, it's $400, PayPal me at my mom's PayPal email, because I wasn't 18, so I didn't have my own PayPal. Yeah. My PayPal was Dale, so I'm not going to say it publicly, but yeah, so, well, I did. It's on my YouTube. You can literally go see my PayPal, my old PayPal anyhow. And 45 days after I started my channel, I hit 10,000 subscribers.
Wow.
6.5 months after that, I hit 100,000. And so that took off, and I honestly stopped reselling for a while and really was just all in on the marketing stuff. And then after I built my personal brand, I was kind of able to use that as a proof of concept to be able to do consulting for different companies to get the role of being a global brand ambassador for the LA Chargers as well as lead social media advisor. That's what I officially do for the team. So I do some stuff with the personal brand as well as I put together some big game day activations using other celebrities and all kinds of different stuff. There's always different things going on every day.
Dude, that's awesome. So what do you think your greatest struggle was, going from absolutely I mean, I feel like a lot of people just see somebody like you, Blake, and they're like, oh, this kid, his parents were rich, they gave him everything, this is how he was able to get to where he was. What was your struggle going from literally zero, from nothing, to where you are now? Because so many people overrate what they think other people are doing because they don't want to put in the work themselves, and if they know it's possible, it makes them feel bad about themselves.
Yeah, I mean, definitely there's been a few things that stand out. What you said, you were kind of right on it. I don't want to say that bothered me nearly as much as you'd think, just because, so essentially everyone always says that because they Google Steve Wynn, who is my uncle, not my dad. A lot of people think it's my dad, but he's actually my uncle who started the Wynn Resorts and is on the Forbes 400. Has obviously killed it for himself, but I'm not really very close with him. I love him. He's my uncle, but he's never given me $1. I see him less than once a year. I'm really not that close to him. And so when people say that, I always have to remind myself, as annoying as it may be, that they're kind of undermining the credit that I may or may not deserve. It's clearly don't even know you, right? Because anyone who knows me, all my friends, whatever, they're like, oh, he barely even knows Steve. So it's one aspect to it. A big thing now, especially doing the consulting stuff, is it's very the toughest thing I run into is just the fact that I'm 19. It's hard for companies to pay tens of thousands of dollars a month to hire somebody to essentially give them their marketing expertise when they're 19 years old. It's you didn't go to college for marketing. It's no, I actually dropped out of college this past year, but I have a proof of concept. I've run amazing activations. I know everyone that's not everyone, but I know a lot of people that are worth knowing in the influencer space. If you need a Jake Paul to do this, or a Tana Mojo to do this, or even actors, athletes, obviously with my BU and sports company, entrepreneurs like Gary Vaynerchuk is a good friend of mine. So I know a lot of different people, and so I'm I know these different people. I've done it myself. I have the hundreds of thousands of followers myself, so I do know how to do it. It's just it's breaking that gap of a 60-year-old. But you don't have a degree in it, and you haven't worked for some big firm like Beecher Media or something. Like, are you sure you get it? And it's like, yes.
Yeah.
So
They're like, you're a baby, man. Like, what? They're like, you're a baby. We can't pay you that much. Like, you just got out of school.
yeah, they're like, oh, you have to have a college degree to work here. I'm like, well, I have like the knowledge more than that. I practiced it. You know, that's the thing too, is when you're in college, I'm not knocking college.
No.
I'm just saying when you're in college, you're learning. But when you're doing it, you're practicing. And to me, that's just how I've always learned better. And that then puts results on paper that you can show. It's like, I'm not saying that I know how to do these things. I've done these things.
Yeah.
You know, and then once you get people to buy into that, that's when you're able to get these clients and get their respect and everything else. And so that's what I've been able to be fortunate enough to have done with the LA Chargers, or an example, a company called Cocoa Taps, which is they were on Shark Tank, if you watch that show at all. And so I was on that, and so, or I'm their main marketing consultant. And so, you know, different large companies have bought into it, which is awesome. And been able to do some great stuff for them with my company.
Awesome, man. How big do you think mindset is in your life, Blake? And how important do you think it is in people's daily lives?
I think it's everything. I mean, if your mind is not in the right place, especially if you're an entrepreneur. I mean, if you're working, it's one thing because, you know, you're just doing what you're told to do and you're either doing it successfully or you're not. And if you're not doing it successfully, that could cost you your job or something else. So it's always important to be in a positive headspace. But when you're an entrepreneur, it's everything because there's no one to hold you accountable. You're at the top. There is no boss. There's no one you're reporting to. There's nothing. It's like if you don't have the discipline to do it, you're kind of screwed. So from a discipline perspective, from just enjoying what you do. I really, really love what I do on a daily basis. I love that I'm no longer a student. I always hated school. I wasn't the kind of person that hated school because I was horrible at it. I had pretty average / like kind of above average grades, like A's and B's mostly. So I wasn't the Gary V, like I was second to bottom, but that's because I didn't care. So it wasn't so much that, but it was like, I don't like this. I don't like writing papers about stuff that will not translate to anything ever. I don't want to know anything else about Greek mythology. I know enough about it. And like that to me was why I didn't like school so much. I was like, what am I going to do with 80% of the knowledge that I'm being forced to memorize, not even understand, but just frankly memorize for a test? As I'm sure you know, you're in college, right?
Yeah, that's literally this semester for me. I'm taking like astronomy, science, nutrition, and then the only thing that applies is managerial accounting, but my teacher's just like kind of talking at me. So this semester I'm just like, what?
What's your major?
I'm going for business administration because I want to do entrepreneurship, so I'm just trying to figure out like different things in the business industry right now because I don't have a huge personal brand yet and I haven't really worked on much yet, so I'm trying to build that up on the side, and hopefully if that can launch before I finish college, that would be great. But
nothing a little astrology won't fix.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. But, that's awesome. Where are you in school?
Valencia. It's a community college down here in Orlando.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. So, man,
I think school is worth it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
You know, like my whole thing with school, when anyone ever asked me, you know, oh, should I drop out? You dropped out. I'm like, I dropped out quite honestly because I already had the business, could already financially support myself very well. Like, it wasn't about money. I didn't need a job. I had something going. I didn't drop out to then start something. That's the difference. Is it's like if you're lucky enough where either maybe your parents are putting you through school or you have a job that's allowing you to pay for yourself to be put through school, whatever it is, I would totally do it. It's if school's getting in the way of doing something already, that's when it's like not worth it anymore.
That's literally the only reason why that's why I'm doing school, because I don't have anything right now and I hadn't built up my personal brand or tried to do anything before the last 2 years. So I'm like, I'll do both at the same time, and then if one takes off over the other, if my personal brand doesn't take off before school, then I'll finish that and at least have something, and then I can go back to focusing on my personal brand.
And you can't go wrong either way, because it's like, even if you don't have a personal brand by the time you're 22, 23, 24, I mean, look at, like, literally, I keep bringing him up, but look at Gary Vaynerchuk. I mean, he didn't have a personal brand until he was in his late 30s, you know, and he's one of the most people on social media, and you know, so I mean, it's not like you have to have it by 24, or it's like this not happening. Like, you know, you'll definitely be fine. In the meantime, hopefully you are taking some classes that are giving you knowledge that's worth acquiring and that you can then apply to your life and, you know, create businesses or personal brands, whatever it is that you're trying to do. So, I mean, I think you're doing it right. I mean, it sounds awesome.
Yeah. So what's like some daily routines or habits that you have? Like when we were talking about mindset, like how do you get in the right headspace, or do you have anything that you do in the morning to get you in the right headspace right now?
Not so much in the morning. It's funny. Really, my big routine things are more so things I do at night. So
Okay.
I don't like to cut my sleep short. I don't sleep till 1 p.m., but you know, I sleep till probably 9 or 10 every morning, which a lot of people are like, oh, you have to be up at 6. I'm like, I don't really buy into that. Like, there's so many hours in the day that if you sleep for like 8, 9 hours, you're going to be really fresh, and then make those other 16 hours count. That's the key. It's like, yeah, I don't think you have to tighten, you know, your sleep schedule to 5 hours. I like sleeping. I like being refreshed when I wake up. So just being refreshed is a big thing for me. Weirdly enough, like I always think in the shower. Like I would say I like probably spend 30 minutes a day showering, which is like a very weird one that most people don't say.
Yeah.
But definitely spending some time showering. Same thing with driving. If I ever drive, place different meetings, whatever, I'm always thinking when I'm driving. I rarely even listen to music, which is funny. Like in the car.
Yeah.
I think of some other ones that are good. No, honestly, it's the reason I say I don't have a routine is because it's honestly kind of too difficult to have a routine, because one day it might be a golf meeting and then, you know, a bunch of calls. One day it might be, oh, I have to be in the office at 9 a.m. for this thing, or one day it's, oh, I have to travel. So because every day is different, especially for me, kind of, on one side, I'm kind of the back end CEO, making sure everything's happening. But then at the flip side, I have to do everything publicly because it's kind of all predicated on my personal brand and my knowledge. And so because every day is so different, it's hard to say, oh, I have this definite routine, because it's always changing. So no, the shower thing's definitely my biggest one.
Dude, literally when you said shower and driving, I was like exactly the same thing. Like I'll get in the shower at nighttime and I'll be in there for like 2.5 hours, just like so much stuff flowing, and like I come out of the shower, I'm like, that was a productive day. Like 2 hours in the shower and I have all the ideas for like when I have money to start executing.
You know what's funny is, I don't remember who I was talking to recently, but weirdly enough, because all my ideas are very predicated on marketing and different things, and especially now with my personal brand, I kind of have like a solid leverage point. All the ideas I come up with, typically now I don't come up with ideas of new brands, I come up with ideas of how I can execute little things better within what I'm doing, but nonetheless, they typically don't cost very much. And that's something that I think you could maybe even do too, is figure out ideas that don't cost much. You know, to start my channel was the cost of a camera. It was like a couple $100. I bought a camera, and that turned into, you know, like a 7-figure annual business. Not off YouTube, obviously, but every door that it allows you to walk through. And that's the thing too, is I never thought of myself as, oh, I'm trying to buy this camera to start this YouTube channel to market. Like as soon as I hit 10,000 subscribers, which was, like I said, a month and a half into my channel, I realized that this was going to be something. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I have to be in the headspace of I have 1 million subscribers. And so everything I always did, from the way I created content to the kinds of collaborations I tried to get, I didn't always get them, especially at first. But like when I had 10,000 subscribers, I was hitting up Dude Perfect, like, all right, guys, what are we doing? Yeah. Which it sounds funny, but the flip side is that now, like, I'm very good friends with the people on Dude Perfect. You'll see in their upcoming video, which I can probably say out loud. They're doing something called Overtime Sports. If you're familiar, they have like this big show that they always post, and bits, they need sneakers for it. And so Kobe Cotton, who's one of the twins, was like, hey, we need some sneakers. You know anyone in Dallas? I was like, I can do you one better. I'll overnight you some of my personal pairs. And so I did, and they're going to be in the next video. And he literally just texted me like 30 minutes ago, like, hey, here's tracking. We're sending them back with some cool stuff. Like, thank you so much. So like, even though I probably have no business knowing them, like I have 400,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's not like I should know, someone with 46 million, but because of the way I networked and because of the different pieces of content I would create, the ambitions I had, I'm able to have a network that's, kind of above my pay grade, if you will, which has then allowed me to leverage it into business instead of just being a personal brand and a blogger or sneakerhead or whatever, people view me as publicly. So, I mean, that's the thing is whatever you do, you have to think as if you've already made it. Because if you don't think that way, then when you do make it, the bones are going to be off. Because if I thought small and then happened to make it, the flip side would be I wouldn't know any other people that I know. I wouldn't see any businesses that I've started using the platform.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have done any of the stuff that's taken it from, oh, okay, cool, you have 100,000 followers to an entire business that allows me to, not be in college and have a house and, travel, whatever else. So that's like the big thing is just the way that you're leveraging what you're doing.
Dude, I completely agree with you. Like, the other thing in that aspect is, like, I guarantee, like, of course there's people reaching out to Dude Perfect, but there's so many, like, people, like, our age and younger that aren't reaching out to them because they're like, oh, they never talk to me. That, like, because of that, it makes the odds even greater that, like, they'll come in contact with you. Like, for example, there's this guy, Brett the Maverick. I don't know if you've seen his YouTube channel, but he does, like, lifestyle and his fashion. And so I just reached out to him. Like, everybody that has come on here has been just through DMs and just emails after that. But I reached out to him, and then I reached out to Jose Zuniga, who does essentials for, he's another lifestyle person, but he has like 4.2 million subscribers on YouTube. I have like 1,000 followers on Instagram and like 48 followers on YouTube. He's on, like, he's been on the podcast. I just posted that like a couple weeks ago, but it's like literally 4 million times as many followers as me. And it's just reach out, like, do something about it.
I'm telling you, I think that also from a creator standpoint, I think the ones that really get it are the ones that do everything. Like, for me, it's like, of course, I'd like to be on the Ask Gary Vee show or Joe Rogan or like those podcasts are at the top, right? I'm not want to do those, but the flip side is that you want to be in everyone's peripherals. I never know. You could tell me right now this episode is going to get 2 views, but they have never reached those 2 people before, right?
Yeah.
And because, we scheduled it in advance, I made sure I had the time for it. It becomes worth my time, and for no other reason than maybe right now it's nothing, but who knows if in 3 years from now this is past Joe Rogan, right? Like, there's no reason to not do stuff. Also, I'm a big believer in just like the kind of energy you put out. Like this, for all you know too, this could be an episode that changes your whole game, right? It could go viral because I say something that someone picks up and clips and puts on TikTok, and then the whole thing goes crazy, which also might not happen, but if it does, it's like you just never know, right? And that's the thing that a lot of big creators really understand, which is why some of them do take the time to do different things. And also, I didn't know that you were looking at people like that. If you are, I definitely know a bunch of creators that would love to hop on your podcast as well in the future. That could probably help as well.
I would appreciate that. It means the world to me. Like, this podcast is literally to help. I'm pretty sure I sent you the message, but I use it to help inspire people, make their dreams come true, to show no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what you have, you can make it happen. And like, I don't have money to go and network with people. So I think is like, okay, what's my next best thing? Like, I can sit at my house and people can be like, oh, your network's your net worth. Oh, I have nobody. Or I can start reaching out to people and creating friendships and creating relationships and meeting up with person. Cause like meeting up in person, like, cause that's my next goal is once I can start monetizing stuff is like to come out to Vegas and be like, yo, I'm going to meet up with Blake and we're going to do a hype beast like video or a marketing video, or like just collaborate, find something that Blake likes and we'll do a video on that. Some like that nobody might know that Blake likes to do like on his spare time. Right. And that'd be like a YouTube video. Like, it's just reaching out and creating relationships, and too many people are like afraid to do it. And I was one of them for the longest time.
That helps you though, because right, there's less people in people's DMs than you think.
Exactly. That's like
those who provide value, because see, your podcast is a value because most creators, at least at this split second, don't have podcasts. A lot of them are kind of starting it now, but because they don't, right? If I want to be on a podcast, I either do it myself or I go on somebody else's. Right?
Exactly.
I have one of my own coming out. I've been stacking videos of that because
that's awesome.
I don't want to post it before I have like 20 already ready, so that way I can stay consistent. Because consistency, especially when it comes to a personal brand or anything social related, consistency is it. I mean, literally, like, I almost kind of believe that it's not even about content, because the algorithm favors you if you're consistent. People are like, I'd rather follow someone who posts all the time and I kind of like it versus someone who I love but posts once a year. Like, I see that.
Like, that was my biggest problem. Like, when I first started, I literally started, like, I think 2 days after I met Gary, or like a couple months before I met him. But like, I met him, and like everything that he said, I've always listened to, barely executed on, because like it was like a month or two before that, like I barely executed on it. I was like, I'm gonna do this, and like I thought of all the right things, did not execute. As soon as I met him, I started taking action, doing stuff consistently, just like that in-person thing. And then I started posting consistently for like 60 days. And then I got, his name's Sean Boronahira. I'm not sure if you ever heard of him, but he does like motivational videos and stuff like that. And on Facebook, like he's reached over like 2 million people with his videos, and he's really big in Thailand. And so like, I just DM'd him. I was like, hey man, would love for, I saw his video. I was like, whose account is this? And somebody sent it to me, like some random commenter. And I was like, hey man, I saw your video, would love to have you come on. And then he came on, and I was like, hey, just wondering for like anybody out there that's watching, why did you come on? And he's like, well, I saw your videos, man. And like, you posted for like 60 days straight. Like, that's pretty insane. And I'm just like, dude, like, it's crazy. And that's why I'm trying to get back to being consistent. Like, there's some nights where I'm up a little bit later because I'm like, shit, I didn't edit the video. I need to get it out there. Like, but it's crazy.
What was the context of meeting Gary? Did you just go to a meet and greet, or did you have an actual meeting with him? What was the context?
So what happened was he came in town for a meeting, for like an event, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna meet Gary. And like, my mom was like, how are you gonna meet Gary? Because like, she knows, like, me and her find people, but she's like, okay, like, do you know you're gonna meet Gary? I was like, no, we're gonna find him. And she's like, okay. So we met this kid named Rishi, who tags Vision Out Loud, but he ended up working for Gary after we met him. But so we were outside, and he was like, yo, I've like found Gary 3 other times. And I was like, seriously? And he's like, yeah, I've been like hunting him down the last couple months, like trying to get a job with him. I was like, okay, cool. He's like, so we messaged D-Rock, and we're like, yo, where's Gary? And he's like, he's hanging out with his family. And we're like, okay. And then I saw like the same thing that I did to find somebody else. I saw him post on Snapchat, him working out at the gym. And I just looked up like gyms in Orlando and hotel gyms in Orlando. And I found something with like the same background. I was like, he's at the Four Seasons in Disney. And my mom's like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. So we drove over there. There was a gate, and the dude's like, what are you guys doing here? And I was like, my mom's like, oh, I'm just dropping off my son to see his friends. Like, they're in town for like a baseball tournament. So they let us pass the gate, and then we just waited in the lobby for like 2 hours, and he came downstairs, and we saw him, but he was with his kids. So we're like, no. I was like, Rishi was like, should we go up and see him? And I was like, no, he's with his kids right now. Wait till he comes back downstairs without them, because like, I don't like to intrude on people's family time and stuff like that. So he comes back downstairs. I don't see his kids for a second. I'm turning, and I see him, and I lock eyes with him, and he's like, and then I look down and I see his kid, and I was like, shit, like, I'm not coming, bro. Like, I'm not going to approach you, Gary. I understand. So I turn around, and then he like looks at his wife. He's like, give me a second. And then he comes over, and he's like had a conversation with me. But yeah, it was insane, man.
That's great. Was he nice to you or no?
No, he was really nice. But to Rishi, he was kind of pissed. Rishi was like, hey, like, I reached out. He's like, not right now, man. He was like, no. He was just like, he's like, I already know what you want. He's like, send me an email again. And so like 2 months later, he ended up working for him. So I don't think he was too mad at him, but it was funny.
That's crazy. What a great story. Wow. That's insane that you did that. And it's funny too, because like, I never even thought of going to that level, but there's probably so many people that do that for Gary. It's crazy.
And the thing is, like, I don't want to be like that weird person that like hunts you down, but like if I don't have any other chance of meeting you, like Gary comes into Orlando like once a year because nothing goes on here, which kind of like stinks event wise for entrepreneur stuff, and something that I want to figure out to maybe start doing stuff once I start building like more connections. But like, if that's the only opportunity I have to see you, I'm going to do almost anything besides, like, mess with your family time, pretty much.
That's awesome. I love it. I mean, even stuff like that attitude is enough to know that you'll make it and you'll do whatever it is that you set your mind to do, because, like, there's so few people that do that those are the ones that make it. Whether it's your effort in meeting Gary or your effort in posting 60 times or anything, anything that you try that hard for, that's a skill that can't be taught. It's like you either really want something or you don't. And those that want it are the ones that do get it,
Dude, it's so true. And that's why I'm trying to work to stay more consistent with school and stuff, because with the work getting like piled on top of each other and trying to do this, and then I'm also doing like another kind of internship thing with a startup that's teaching like pretty much free mentoring on like ClickFunnels and copywriting. So I'm like, okay, most people aren't doing that, or that I reach out and I'm like, yo, I'll work for you for free to do that. They're like, no, sorry, you need to like give me $2,000. And I'm like, yeah, I don't have that money. Like, I'm in college. Like, it's not coming my way right now. So
there's enough times where you offering something for free is enough for most people. So I wouldn't pay. I wouldn't pay for podcast guests if I were you. And if you do, it has to be somebody where it's like, okay, this is like, I would pay for Kanye or something, but
yeah, I feel like the only people I pay for is like Oprah or Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, someone that will like can't lose on the investment. But yeah, besides that, there's no point. It seems like you have it all working for you. You're getting the guests you want. And like I said, I'm happy to help you get more and stuff like that as well. And most of as consistent as possible. If you're in college, it seems like you're doing the best you can to put everything together, which is awesome.
I'm trying. I saw Gary's coming in town the 18th too, so I DM D-Rock
Saturday. So I'll tell him to like look.
November 18th. November. Yeah. But I DM'd D-Rock and he's like, you know how many people ask me this? And I was like, okay, sorry, bud. Like, because normally like it's pretty friendly, but I get it if people are DMing me constantly to try to meet up with somebody that like, instead of talk to me, but I've messaged him before on other things. I tried to get him on the podcast, but he didn't want to come on. But
one day.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I keep trying to reach out to I reached out to Tyler, so I'm trying to see if Gary, when he comes in town, will meet up the November 18th to see. If not, I'm gonna find him again. So
yeah, there you will. So
I'll get another clip for the gram, but he'll be on the podcast eventually. I have no doubt about it. Yeah. So my next question, man, is what would be like 3 tips for somebody in your industry, like to help start off becoming successful?
Create a personal brand.
Okay.
Use that as a proof of concept leverage point. So start a personal brand, and to do that, post consistent, find your niche, execute on it better than the other people do. What I mean by that is, right, consistency, quality of content, figuring out the algorithm to the extent of posting at the right times, posting on the right platforms, diversifying platforms. So number 1 would be the personal brand side.
Okay.
Number 2 would be, if you're building everything at the same time, I probably would go to school for it, especially if you're younger, because you will learn aspects that, quite honestly, I don't even know certain aspects of marketing that you learn in a classroom setting. I've just been lucky enough that financially I can honestly hire people that have that aspect of the knowledge. I have the execution knowledge, right? They have theory, I have execution. You marry the two, you end up with kind of a marketing machine, which is what I'm going for. And so you're at that starting space, and I would do personal brand, I would do college at the same time, because then you have the knowledge for it.
Okay.
Third thing is, I would do. that's the biggest thing is doing. Like, and honestly, like, it sounds so stupid to count that as one of the three, but like, you'd be surprised how many people go to college for something, they kind of try to build something, but they don't genuinely do it. Like, that is the barrier to entry is fucking making the content and like actually doing it. Like, there's really no way to dance around it of like, oh, like you can strategize, like, oh, you can make a 1,000,000-page long business plan. But if it's you're not just like, okay, here's content, here's postings, here's this, of course you can't do it. And so doing is the big third thing that without that you can't do anything else. And quite honestly, if you just do and you do it with some form of competence, you almost don't need the other two. Literally, doing separates you from 98%. Like, the way I look at it is, if I'm doing, I'm already beating 98% of the world. So now I'm only competing against 2%. I much compete against a couple million people than 8 billion people for a goal. Yeah. And then against those couple million, you can differentiate yourself by then personal brand and college degree and, all that other kind of stuff, all that other fluff and different things you can add. And that's how you kind of rise the ranks of that top 1 or 2 or 3%. Like, you can very easily just literally eliminate 97 to 98% of people. And to me, that's so exciting because it's like, how would you be successful in this very big, very large, very tough world if you don't even need to? That's the way I look at it.
So there's like, I've had about 24 guests on. Not all the podcasts are posted, but like, I have 24 people. I'd say at least 5 to 6 people's like tips for any industry is just do it. Like, like, nobody does it. Just do it. And if you can do it consistently and stay in there just a little bit longer than everybody else, your odds are going to go up significantly. They're like, most people, like, I had Sean Canal, who I just posted his podcast 2 days ago for Think Media. He's like, man, if you can do YouTube for 3 years, like, just consistently, like, just post consistent stuff, you're almost guaranteed to make it because nobody else will stay on there for 3 years.
Guaranteed to make it.
What?
At least you almost are guaranteed to make it, at least to an extent.
Yeah, he's like, dude, you'll have more subscribers than most people. Like, you'll be able to do something unlike most people. He's like, most people are posting like, they're doing marketing, right? So they start off with a video on marketing. Then they have a video of their dog from like 6 years ago. And then they have a video of them like eating a taco. Like, they're not going anywhere. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you're calling me for consulting for YouTube and you have no videos posted? Like, well, what am I supposed to help you out on here? Like,
no, I mean, it's tough because the flip side of it is it's very hard to create content when there's no followers. Because it's very hard to spend hours editing and hours trying to make the content happen and think about it and edit it, and you're so proud of it, you want to know what people think about it, and then you don't get anything. Use it. So it is very hard. I'm a little hypocritical because I was very fortunate. I did have those followers very quickly, but 10,045 days for the first 2 or 3 weeks, which of course is no time. I'm not going to say you'd be like, I'm just the worst 2 weeks, but like for 2 weeks, like it took me 2 weeks for my first video to hit 40 views, which is a lot of views. I mean, 40 people in front of them, like, it looks like a lot of people. 40 people at a party is like, okay, like, there's a decent little group of people here. Yeah. Like, but, no comments, no thumbs up, no thumbs down, whatever. It's like, for the first 2 weeks, I didn't even know if people liked it or didn't like it. I'm like, I know no one's seeing it. I can see that. But like, what is it? Is it the worst thing you've ever seen? Is it the best and it's going to blow up? Like, I need something. But I get feedback, so I had to use intuition and things like that to, keep creating the content that I thought was working and, pushing the needle in the direction I wanted to go in. And, it worked out for me. It doesn't work out for everybody, but honestly, for those that are consistent, a lot of time, more than not, it does work out, at least to an extent that they're happy with. So, that's so much of it. The other thing too, it's kind of a fourth one, if you will, to like the 3 tips is you have to love what you do. Like, if you don't actually like what you're doing, and it's so cliche, it's the same thing that the 24 people you've had on have probably said, but like, people are like, oh yeah, of course, I gotta love what I do. and then they go to their job that they fucking hate. It's like you just heard the code. Like people literally are telling you how to do it, and you're like, oh God, I hate them. They just say things like, you love, and then they like prance off to like the job they hate, and then home to the family they don't like, and I'm just like, oh my God, like why are you upset? Like you literally were given advice from every single successful person in the world, whether they have $1 or they're Jeff Bezos, but everyone who's happy and successful will say you have to love it.
Yeah, I had Brett Knudsen on. I don't know if you know him.
That's Knudsen.
Yeah, he did Hive and has Monopolize.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But he was like the biggest. He's like his number one piece of advice was like, you hear success, but you don't implement it. Just implement it. Like he's like, it's easier to say than to do, but like literally, you're gonna read things. You're gonna like listen to podcasts, listen to YouTube videos, have people like literally hand you the information in every single thing that you need, but you're not gonna follow the simplest advice, and that's why you're not gonna go anywhere. I mean, I feel like that's literally life. Like I give advice, and I'm not gonna lie, like I'm not perfect. I mean, none of us are, and some of my advice is hypocritical because it's stuff I'm working on myself. Like that's why I'm throwing it out there. So that
what to do though.
Yeah, and so like
even if you're not practicing it to the fullest extent, you know what to do.
Exactly, and it's like I'm trying to work on it just as hard. That's why if somebody like DMs me and they're like, "Hey, what do I need to do here?" I'm like, "Look, this would be my advice to you." But I have no idea. Like, I have no idea what that entails. So if this is helpful, like, I'm so glad. But don't think, like, if you don't do this, like, you're going to fail. Because this is just my best advice, and I'm a human just like you. And I'm just trying to grow and learn and implement so that eventually one day I can be successful and help people out, like, help as many people out as possible. But look for those people that are kind of in the same predicament as me. And if I could give them a helping hand to like pull them out faster so that they can just do even more in their lifetime than I am, like that would be awesome.
Yeah, and I mean that's, you know, when you're doing good, like good comes to you, whether you believe in karma or not. Because if you're doing good, it's not even like it's like, oh, karma is gonna make good come to you. It's like, no, like other people will make good come to you. They'll see it and they'll hear it and they'll feel it and they will want to help. So you know, it's not even a matter of, oh, I hope I get lucky and this person, you know, does a huge favor for me. It's like if you do that at scale, at some point, it's going to come back to you. And that's when it like really gets good. It becomes almost a cycle of you're doing good, people are doing good for you. There's good going all around, and all the negativity and, you know, lack of success or whatever it is, it gets eliminated very quickly. There's no room for it.
Dude, I feel like there's not 1% luck. I mean, I feel like there's very few times where you get extremely lucky. Like in your case where you were posting and you got 10,000 in like a week or a month. Like, I mean, you're still doing the hard work, but that was like in a case I feel like of extreme luck. But like from that 10,000 on, like your luck was like 1% of you growing after that. And I feel that's for most cases, for most scenarios, like 1 to 5% is the average rate of luck is what like I've kind of come up with. And just you putting in the hard work, just like it adds on to luck. Like what people call luck, like it adds on like, oh wow, he's so lucky he knows these people, or he's so lucky like people helped him out. It's like, yeah, that 3 to 5 years of hard work was a lot of really good luck. and
some people will say that, and that's fine, you know, because that's the other thing too, is the only person who I get caught up in is myself, you know, and those who are very, very close to me. I don't get caught up in Instagram comments and YouTube comments and comments on the street when I meet people. But the flip side is I also don't get caught up in the positive, because like I went on tour, I've done a lot of stuff where everyone's like, I love you, and like this is like, you know, you're amazing, and I'll buy your merchandise and I'll wear your name on my chest and this, and it's like I don't get caught up in that either. It's just like staying very kind of flat line, like not too high, not too low. Of course, some days are worse than others and some days are better than others, but it's all, you know, it's just deep breaths. Like this is all very micro. It's like right? Because if someone loves me and someone hates me, when I go home that night, what does that really change?
Yeah.
I sit in the same, fight with my mom potentially, or I'm still going to have a great date with my girlfriend, or you see what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't really affect the cornerstones of what actually makes up my life. Of course, when someone says it, it's like, oh, thank you, it means the world, and let's take a picture, let's do whatever, right? Like, of course it means a lot in that moment.
Yes, yeah.
You can't live through that moment. You can't, financially, like, make money in that moment that can support your lifestyle. Like, there's, it's so kind of minute in the overall machine of life that it's just, you can't let any comment or anything, deviate, the way that you feel about something.
Yeah, you want to appreciate it, but not let it inflate you or depress you, which dude, YouTube comments are crazy. I was reading this one comment today because, like, I was watching one of my favorite YouTubers, and he's having this Alpha M, Aaron Marino.
Okay.
I watch a lot of stuff. I watch a lot of lifestyle and influencers, stuff like that. But I had one of the guys, Antonio, on my thing recently, and he actually, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this. If not, I'll cut it out. But he gave me a free ticket to one of the Menfluential events. It's like their last event that they're doing. Yeah. And so he was like, Aaron was like doing a promotional thing for it, and everybody gets mad at him for like promoting stuff, which I don't understand, because it's like, how else do you expect him to make his living? But they're like, one of the comments was like, I've been following you since you've had like 400K, and now he's at like 5 million followers, and he's like, dude, I would not pay like $200 to go and see you, and this event is like $400. Like, what a ripoff! Like, what a scam! And I'm like, you do realize, like, they're catering the event, so they're giving away, like, they're bringing food trucks and like
they're making outfits still, but they should too.
Yeah, and they're it's a 2-day event. They're catering everything. They're bringing in a ton of influencers, and they're paying for the space. So it's like, in reality, one, you're probably giving him more like $50 to $100, and two, either way, like, you've been watching his content clearly, like you've said, for almost 10 years now. So like, if he wants to charge you $50, like, to come and see him, like, so what? Like, then don't come and see him. But you really don't need to leave a comment like that on his video.
I mean, a lot of times too, you have to figure, people are commenting because they want to try to become the top comment.
That's literally, that's what it was too. So.
And shit like that. And at the end of the day, like, it's so is what it is. Especially with the social media stuff and comments and things like that. I mean, like, almost nothing matters. Like, right now, I know Trisha Paytas is getting, like, I don't know if it's his or her. I've only heard the name very briefly. I read it I didn't even know who Trisha Paytas was until today. I don't know if you've seen this thing. It's like, I think it's either a guy that said he feels like a girl on the outside, but is not going to get a sex change. But, like, it's something gender identity. Yeah. I don't know the stories right now. No one's watching. It's like, oh, you jerk! Like, you totally sensitize it. Like, clearly it's a big deal to a community, but not yet. Like, in due time, it will blow over. If Trisha Paytas loses his or her relevance, then that's how people will move on. If it makes them more relevant, and then people, they just have more hate, so be it. Something will happen, but no matter what, it will keep progressing. People are like, hate comment, okay, stop, freeze. Or like, great comment, stop, freeze. You can't stop. That's the point, No,
yeah. I mean, it's literally nowadays, like, it's like Gary said, like, you can't give a F about what anybody says, but at the same time, you have to completely care. Like, if I got up on a table and started screaming at my college, like, everybody would look at me, and most of them would probably forget it by the end of the day, if not the end of the week. And there's so much information out there. It's like, it's ridiculous. Like, I think James Charles, I don't even know what went on with that, but like a bunch of people hated him for like a week and a half or a month, and then he got everything back. Like,
Of course.
it's like there's good and bads to both sides in like how big of a role that can play, but I mean, people are gonna hate on you either way. I have like no followers, and like I posted a video New Year's, and somebody was like, "Oh, F you, blah blah blah," and I was like, "Okay, thanks." Like, literally, I said like, "Had to have a happy New Year's," and somebody told me to go F off, and I was like, "Oh, thank you so much. You made my day." Like, that's what I responded.
I'll tell you, I mean, the flip side is you could be that person commenting hate. Not usually too many successful people hating on anything. You know what I mean? There's very few billionaires that are on Instagram like, I fucking hate you. And then like comment on like some 12-year-old TikToker's post. Like, obviously, like, successful people don't do that stuff. Like, that's a very like unsuccessful, like, I don't even know the word for it, but it's a horrible mindset. If you are literally someone who could just go online and just comment hate.
Yeah.
It's one thing if it's a meme and that's your content. Like, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just like, you're an individual. You're not trying to build a personal brand. You go on someone who's clearly working hard. They maybe did a brand deal. They maybe did whatever else. And you're just like, I hate this. I hate you. I hate whatever. It's like, oh, you must live a very happy, fulfilling life.
No, yeah.
On screen. You know what I mean? And the flip side is that they also then come to their meet and greet, probably.
Yeah, yeah.
Follow them. They do still like them. They're just like, I want to be the top comment.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever commented anything hate. There's definitely been like one or two videos that I've been watching stuff and like YouTube just starts throwing stuff that they think I like, and somebody just like is complete hate speech, and I'm like, yo, you should like watch what you say, because that's actually really hurtful to a lot of people. Like, that's not cool. Like, you should stop that. That kind of sucks what you're doing right now. Like, you're helping a lot of other people spread hate to other people, but like, that's like the most that I've gone like hateful speech on somebody in the comments.
Yeah. Or
what's something you're working on right now, Blake? Like something like that might be coming up soon, or that you're working on right now that like you're really pumped or excited for?
Well, everything Chargers related is probably my favorite thing to do. I was a diehard fan since I was a little kid, so having this role with the Chargers is literally so much fun. Like, every Sunday at the home game, watching on the field, bringing out cool people. Next Sunday, I'm actually bringing Tana to the game, which will be a lot of fun.
Cool.
She's become a pretty good friend of mine, like, in a very short period of time. Like, I didn't even know her a few months ago, and now, like, I've spent a bunch of time with her, and she's really cool and, like, so much fun. Do you know who Tana is?
Yeah, that's Jake's girlfriend or wife or great stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I see you guys were out there in Paris. It looked fun.
Yeah, so, stuff like that is very, very fun for me. Every Sunday being on the game, talking to players. We're putting a golf tournament together for next year, hopefully, where we'd have like a pro-am where like all of our athletes are going to come. It'll all be for charity. Wealthier people will get to pay to then play with the athlete. It'll all be in Atlantis in the Bahamas, so it'll be a fun 5-day trip out there. So just starting to finally just get that initial conversation going with the venues and different things like that to make that happen. Honestly, just every day to me is so fun. Like, I'm never like, my Thursday this week is just like the worst. Like, I really, very much so enjoy everything I do, literally from the time I wake up till the time I go to bed. That's the other reason I sleep in, is because I don't go to bed till very late, because I'm always very, very excited and very happy about doing whatever it is I'm doing, whether it's even just spending time with my girlfriend or my family, all the way up to I'm sending emails at 12:42 in the morning, just like, hey, did you see this piece of content?
Yeah.
And to me, that's the way it should be. You only have one life to live. And so, of course, there's things you have to do, like you have to work a job if you need money, and, of course, there's give-ins, but there's still so much within your control. Even your job, to an extent, is within your control, and everything can be manipulated in a way that can make you happy. And so for me, it's like, if I don't want to do something, like, I've turned down 6 figures for different things in my life, already at a very young age, when it's like, $280,000, I would love that. Like, I'll go buy like all of Gucci, but it's like, I don't even want to, because I will be miserable doing this.
Yeah.
For example, I had one recently. I won't name names, and hopefully they don't see this. And honestly, if they do, I don't care. But I was on the phone with somebody who to use my company for consulting.
Yeah.
And the phone call went so terribly, in my opinion. They probably liked it. They were like, "Oh, we want to get to know you." They were like interrogating me very like kind of just in a way I didn't really like. And they said something, and I heard them wrong, and they were like, "Oh, why did you hear me wrong?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, like you cut out." He was like, No. Explain to me why you heard me wrong. And I literally like on the phone, this is going to be a 6-figure client. I literally on the phone was like, "My company would no longer be interested in working with you, but we wish you all the best, and I will talk to you soon. Goodbye." And I ended it, and that would have literally probably been a $250,000 a year client. And I'm like, I literally like I refuse to. Like I don't care. I don't chase money. To be honest with you, I'm very lucky, and in the sense that honestly, nothing I do in business has any kind of thought for the most part in terms of money, which is when business at the highest level. Because if you're worried about money, then what are you worried about? The people involved and the product you're putting out there.
Yeah.
So because I'm lucky enough that that's my whole focus, I literally couldn't even tell you what my business has made and what my business has spent in the last month. Of course, I can look at balance sheets and write this off.
You know it, but it's not top of mind.
Well, no, I know it at the end of the month, but right now it's the middle of the month. I couldn't tell you our numbers from yesterday or the first week. I could guesstimate them within a certain amount of accuracy, and I know it's profitable and things like that. But, it's like I can tell you exactly what campaigns we've executed, and the way we executed them and the people we used to do so and the different things. And to me, that's what makes what I do well, what I do work, because brands see that and they actually get results. Because all I'm focused on is the results. I'm not focused on trying to get their money and be like, I got your, $18,000 this month. It's not like that. And so that's, that too to me is what works really well, is when you don't have to sit there and be like, "Oh my God, I'm going to have to deal with the most difficult person in the world to work with, but I need $250,000. It's like, I don't even have to do, I don't care. I don't need an extra watch. I don't need a car. Like absolutely not. And so that's something that I would definitely say is such a value once you're 3 to 5 years into your business, if you're lucky enough to be successful, because that's when your business can go from being like Amazon bookstore to Amazon, the biggest company ever, because it was like, it wasn't about money anymore. It was like, he's doing very well. And it's like, okay, let's scale this out. What can we do better? And then they did it better, and the money just comes, and that's what's so exciting about it. And so that's where I feel like I'm lucky enough to be at right now. And so I'm definitely going all in on, I either want to do it and the company wants to do it, or it's not happening.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And you said that the Chargers have been your teams since you were little.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on my desktop. I would aim it around, but like, I don't even know if you can see it behind me. A few different things. I mean, even here, let's see if I can tilt this real quick. So even right here, this is like a bunch of football cards.
Sick.
And the Chargers, and they're all mostly signed by Chargers players who are now friends of mine. Like, this whole room is sports memorabilia. This is like my in-home office for Wynn Sports, and so much Charger stuff everywhere. We have some other team stuff here, but typically it's just because I'm friends with different players, and a lot of them were former Chargers that are on other teams and then signed team stuff. But yeah, since I was 6 years old, the first football game I ever watched was Chargers Patriots.
Okay.
The Patriots were undefeated. I was like 8 years old then, and I walked into my living room, and my dad was watching, and he was like, "I bet on the Patriots. Come root for them with me." And I was a jerky little 8-year-old, and I was like, "Go Chargers!" With me my whole life, and being in Vegas are the closest team, so I was able to go to games and stuff, and so that's how it happened, man. Yeah, it was just something so random, and thank God it did, because the Spanos family is amazing. That's who owns the team, Dean Spanos and his wife Susie. They're so beyond amazing, and they've given me a lot of opportunities, because even before I did consulting for them, they let this little 16-year-old kid with 60,000 subscribers jump on the field. They gave me field passes. They invited me to sit in the owner's box, and they let me make content, which was unprecedented at the time. In 2016, NFL had not bought into the use of influencers for anything. Now they have started to, and now, we're able to do things like bring out Tana and bring out these different people every week, and that's what they brought me on to do. But 2 years ago, I was the only influencer in the stadium, in the league. that I was the only influencer being used by the only team in the league that believed in it, and it was awesome. So, hopefully it translates into more fans and things like that for the Chargers and on the 10 to 20 year macro. But for now, it's just so much fun to be a part of it.
That's crazy, man. I'm actually going to my first pro football game like next month with my dad for his birthday. We bought him tickets to the Bills. The Bills versus the Dolphins. The Dolphins, yeah.
So it's in Miami or in Buffalo?
Miami.
Okay, that'll be so fun.
Yeah.
I know on both teams. I'll DM them and see if they'll be around. Maybe they can come meet you guys in the stands before the game or something.
That would be cool.
You guys could walk down towards the field pregame.
For sure. My dad would probably love that.
Dolphins fan or Bills fan?
A Bills fan. We used to live in upstate New York, but like you said, like my grandpa was a Pittsburgh fan, so like my dad's like, oh, the Bills. I'm like, no, I'm sorry, they're garbage, Dad. Like, and I make fun of them all the time, but this season, man, I have nothing to say. Like, I'm like every weekend I'm like, Dad, are they winning? Because they've been on a streak so far. So he's loving it.
Still playoff spot and stuff. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's crazy, but I'm happy that my dad gets to see a game in person, and he's happy that he gets to see it with us because I think he's seen like one or two other games because my uncle was like a crazy Patriots fan, and he has like literally his whole entire downstairs basement is just Patriot memorabilia. Like every single player he has something signed from them since like it's insane. Like it's ridiculous. The Patriots are literally his life. Like if football ended tomorrow, I don't think he would live anymore.
That's kind of how I am. I mean, that's one thing that's just like, it's like Disneyland for 5-year-olds or like, for honest, still for me, I love Disneyland still, but I mean, it's like,
you're in it. You're there. You're doing stuff. You're helping out. Like it.
I mean, if I would be season ticket holder, and I would be there, and I would just watch, and I'd be just as happy. I mean, that's the thing is doing things that make you happy. That's my whole thing. So
that's good though. I guess that's it at the end of the day. As long as it makes you happy and doesn't harm other people, go for it.
That's the motto. Yeah.
So, Blake, did you ever have like a 9-to-5 job before you started all this? No. No.
I started my first business at 11. Bought myself an iPad, bought myself, whatever I needed. Always. Honestly, I think that's the other reason why my business have worked is because I've never started anything and put that much thought into the money side because I had businesses. Everything I started had very low costs. My resale business started with $40. I bought my first 2 pairs of shoes for $20 each. Each pair sold for $100. So I very quickly went from 40 to like 250 and then 250 to 500. And, 3 years later, tens and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And because of that, I've literally, and honestly too, coming from a family that had money where I didn't, I wasn't, hey, can you help with the Wi-Fi bill and stuff? And so I was very lucky in that regard because it was like I literally have pretty much never spent a day worrying about money in my life, which is half because of, the hard work I put in and half because of the hard work my parents have put in. And, and that's the thing too. And that's also why I don't honestly get a lot of hate, especially anymore when it comes to my parents and stuff, because I'm not sitting here like I'm completely self-made. I didn't pick up a fake backstory. I'm like, look, I come from a successful family. But the reason that I'm able to do it is because I had the best parenting. I loved my mom. I'm very, very close to my mom. My house is literally like half a mile from hers. I was like, I don't want to live at home, but like I want to be very close to you here in Las Vegas. And it's because like we're so close. She raised me in a way where it wasn't, oh, here's money, do whatever you want. It was, here's the skill set to be able to go earn your own money, to experience from a very young age how to earn things. The reason I started my first business is because I had $40 and I wanted the iPad when the iPad came out. That's why I started it. And so I took that $40 and a month later I had enough money for the iPad, and I didn't buy the iPad right away. I waited till I had more money so that way I could keep the business going, because I was like, this is working. I'm going to be able to do a bunch of cool stuff. I can get an iPad and a hoodie and, whatever else. Because when you're 11 or 12, you're not like, oh, I'm going to invest. It's like, oh, what can I buy, whatever. But I had so much fun. I literally played business like a video game. The dollars I was making was kind of like my score. And I still look at it that way. Like, to me, really, like, whether you consider it from net worth or bank account or, investments or whatever, like, to me, it's like, it's a score, I mean, it's like you're competing against other entrepreneurs, and kind of, in a sense, the mark of entrepreneurship is how much you end up making, at some point. So to the realist extent that I care about money is a score. And that's why I still work hard, because I love playing this game of entrepreneurship. And in order to score, you got to do things that, end up making, but to get the highest score, you got to do them well. And that's kind of what I do. That's why I look at it.
Dude, I 100% agree. Like, honestly, when sneaker flipping came out and stuff like that, I didn't really know about it. My next door neighbor, like, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go get the LeBron 11 Kings Prides, because those, like, the most expensive shoes that, like, I ever had gotten. And so I saved up my money. I went to go buy them, and my neighbor was like, yo, are you going to Foot Locker in the morning to wait out in the line? And I was like, sure, why not? Like, I don't know. I'm that person that, like, I like to try and experience once at least. So, like, I'll wait outside in the line, like, and get up at 3 o'clock in the morning one time. If I like it, I'll continue. If I don't, like, I won't. And so my neighbor, he's like the same age as me. His name's Liam, and he was like, yo, I'm gonna start flipping sneakers. And I was like, okay, have fun with that. Like, I don't even know what that is, but you do that. And it's just like I think the Jordan Steels or something like that.
Yeah, Jordan had Steel. Remember those days, of course.
So he went and bought those, and he flipped those, and then he flipped, like, the Kobe All-Stars, the LeBron All-Stars, and the KD All-Stars. And he flipped for a couple of years, and then he bought his car. And I'm like, dude.
Like 16. Yeah, all that stuff.
I was like, that's awesome, man. Like, congratulations. Like, good for you, because everybody else in the neighborhood were looking at you like, what the hell are you doing, bro? Like, why do you keep...
It's a great way for kids to learn business, too, because... Well, so it's different. So when I started, StockX, Go, like, those big apps, those didn't even exist.
Yeah.
That's why I keep saying eBay. It wasn't like I was unaware of these better places. It was like that was the place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you learn so much. What was funny, though, is subconsciously I always ran it like an entrepreneur. And that's just the only way I knew how. Like, for example, I will admit I waited in line a couple times if it was something really big. But I never waited in line by myself, and I almost never waited in line. It was all these random 13-year-olds that were my friends. All right, here's $50 a person, Here's to buy the shoe, buy me the shoe, keep the $50, I'll take care of the rest. So I had 8 people. But when I was like 9 years old, I had, I would do a car wash during summer break. But I would door to door getting people to drive their car to my house, and I had the neighbor kids. Everyone would get $2 per car they washed, and I'd make like $6, but like, I didn't even look at it as I'm making $6. I'm like, I know how to get more clients. I'm going to go door to door. Like, they'll wash cars, like, and, you could portray that however you want, but to me, it was always like, I always ran everything I did like a business without even realizing that's what I was doing. Most people at a car wash, they stand out there, they get one car at a time, and they wash it, which is great. Still better than nothing. But I was like, that thought never even crossed my mind. I was like, the only way to do this is the only way to do this and make more than like $8 or $10 or $20 throughout a day is if I get 8 people to help. So it only takes, 20 minutes a car, and then 30 cars throughout the course of the day, do 3 an hour for 10 straight hours. I'm gonna have a couple $100 at the end of the day. But that's just like, that came natural to me because of the way that I was raised. And that's why I give my parents so much credit. Like, that thought process, 99 out of 100 people don't even think that way. And I thought that way when I was 9 years old.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like that's how my neighbor across the street thinks. And he always thinks that way, but he wants to go into computer science. But like, I've never thought that way. Like, what I do is kind of like in every single every single thing that I do is I'm very self-aware, and I'm very much aware of other people. Like within the first couple minutes of meeting them, I can kind of tell, like, is this person real? Are they fake? Like, I can just kind of read people really fast. And so I'll see people, I'll read them, I'll see what they're doing, and then if it's something that interests me, I'm just like, I'm gonna do that. Like, let me find everybody that can do that, like that I know how can do that, and let me hop right behind them, and I'll just follow them the way. And then once I learn how to do it, like, I'll start throwing my own creative thoughts out there, and I'll go my own direction. But for the meanwhile, I'm just gonna lay low, hop on the back of somebody else, make sure I'm doing my work, but I'm learning and seeing how their brain works and figuring this thing out. Like, I did the same thing for running. Like, I wasn't the greatest runner in the world, but I wasn't a bad runner, and so I always kind of had like a 5:30 6-minute mile time. And one day they threw me in a heat, like, because it was about to rain with like everybody. And I wasn't thinking, like, I was just like, okay, I'll stay in the middle of the pack. That's where I normally am. But some of these kids were running like sub 4-minute mile times. And so I get in this heat and I keep running, and I'm just going. And then like I get to the end, I'm like, shit, there's only like a quarter of a lap left, and I'm at like 5:08. Like, but it was like 4:50 or 4:56 with like 200 yards left. So I'm like, shit, I'm gonna sprint this. Like, I want to get a sub 5-minute mile. Like, that would be insane if I got 4:58, like, to say that. So I sprinted my ass off. I got like a 5:06, 5:08, but I was just like, that
still crazy low.
I was like, dude, this is like insane. And I just realized, like, from that moment, like, I can do anything. I just have to get in, like, with my mindset, I have to get in with the right people that are aiming like extremely high or extremely higher than me, and I can be completely ignorant as long as I have like a tiny sense of what to do and just follow them, and I'll match the level of anybody that I'm in the room with after a period of time.
That's such a great way to be.
And so it's fun, man. Blake, what's your number one goal, man? Like, before Blake leaves this planet, like, what does he want his legacy, his impact to be?
Jokingly, I would always say I want Steve to be known as my uncle. That was kind of my big one, is, this guy that's, on the Forbes 400 and started these big resorts and, CEO for 50 years. I want him to be remembered as like, oh my God, he was Blake Wynn's uncle. Like, that to me would be kind of cool on a personal side. More than anything, in a lot of ways, just the fact that I have the same last name as him has opened a lot of doors for me. And because of that, I understand, because I've been able to tangibly feel the impact of creating a legacy. He created a legacy literally with the name, and I've been able to reap some benefits from that simply just because I am his legacy, and I would like to be able to continue that for my kids and grandkids and all that kind of stuff, because they'll be like, oh wait, you're this? Oh, and then it opens up so many doors for them, not without me. Just like, oh, you do this? Okay, well, we'll be able to help you with this or with this. And so I'd like to be able to create a legacy also because I believe I'm creating a legacy that people will resonate with, because yes, I know that I don't have the most relatable background, but there was a lot about me that was really relatable, because when I started my YouTube, and more so than starting YouTube, but I still started with $40. Everyone can find a way to get $40. No one can justify not being able to have $40. I mean, if you breathe and live in America, you can somehow get $40. If you're homeless, you can get enough coins in a week. You know what I mean? You can get $40. And so, for example, when I started my YouTube, I was on, I don't know if you're familiar with, it's called Accutane. If you have really bad skin, really bad acne.
Oh, I think I've heard of them.
And it dries your lips out, and it makes it look like you have herpes, and it makes your face break out. It gives you dandruff, worse stuff. So I would make videos for 100,000 people, and I literally had dandruff on my shoulder. My lips looked like I had herpes, the worst fucking acne for 6 months, and then once it's done, and then you have better skin and obviously none of the side effects that come from it. But I built my personal brand during that time, and so many kids going through puberty have bad acne, and they have all those things. And so, like, there's a lot of aspects to what I've done that's relatable. You know, I grew up a diehard football fan, like a million kids in the world do. And the way I look at things is just, I'm such a big fan. I love this so much. I'm going to find a way to insert myself in that world because that would make me happy and that would fulfill a childhood dream of mine.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest reason I'm a Chargers fan is because of LaDainian Tomlinson. You know, I don't know if you're familiar with him. He was the running back. He's a Hall of Famer, best player ever played for the Chargers. Like,
Okay.
on birthday or, you know, Christmas or whatever. Oh, what do you want this year? Anything with LaDainian Tomlinson, a jersey, a hat, a sticker with him. Like, literally anything would have made me so happy. And my parents probably spent $1,000 over the course of 5 years on all these different gifts of, like, you know, football cards and, you know, stickers or whatever. And now he's a very close friend of mine because he's a brand ambassador for the Chargers as well. I see him every Sunday. I'm, like, taking pictures with him. I've introduced him to so many of my friends. And it's like, I literally, if I would have, I met him when I was 10 years old, like, really briefly. He was in an elevator at a hotel I was staying at, like, spring break, like, some weird shit. I literally just I broke down crying in the elevator when I was 10. Just like, oh my God, you're like LaDainian, like, shaking, like, didn't even ask for a picture, just, like, shook his hand. I'm, like, 10, fucking crying over here. And now he's, like, such a good friend. And so, to me, those things are relatable, you know?
Yeah, it is.
And so, you know, I think that my legacy will be something where it's like, I can do that. You know, that's what I think will be so cool. It's more than just a legacy for my family. It's something where it sets an example for kids to come and kids that are alive now that want to do this thing. It's like, you can do it.
Yeah.
$40, no matter what the hell you look like, no matter what your ambitions are, like, if there's a will, like, you just might be able to do it. And I'm proof of that, you know, and so that to me is what I want more than anything.
Yeah, man, I 100% agree. Like, I feel like based off of what you're saying, not to the full extent, but we have a similar background where, like, a semi-middle class family and just fortunate enough where you don't have to worry about, like, you don't have to worry about much, but you're not rich where you got things handed to you like it's nothing. Like, you realize and recognize your parents' hard work, and that's what you built off of. And it's like, for me, that's one of my things where, like, I always thought, like, it's kind of hard. Like, how am I supposed to connect with people when, like, one side will see me as privileged and then the other side will be like, oh, I mean, he started from something. Like, it doesn't, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like I don't have, like, that, like, story. I started from $0 homeless in my car and made, like, $14 trillion. Like, and that's all I ever hear. So it's like, it's good to see, like, okay, somebody else is doing the same thing as me, started, or doing more than me, but started from the same place as I was. So it's cool, man.
That's awesome. I love it. It works, man. It works. You know, everybody has a different story, but there's no story that prevents you from getting where you want to be. So that's what's so great about it.
My last thing for you, Blake, is what would be your number one piece of advice to somebody? It might be something that you go by daily or something that you've heard recently, but for the viewers, what's your number one piece of advice for them?
I always had a saying at the end of all my videos, which was like, stay winning and make it happen. You know, winning like WYNNING, just because it was kind of a play off my last name, but it was stay winning in the context of everything that you like, everything that makes you feel like you're winning, whether it's you feel like you're winning when you watch The Office on TV, or you feel like you're winning when you play football, you feel like you're winning when you get an A on a test, whatever it is, stay winning. Don't give up that stuff. The second part of that was make it happen, which is the stuff that you really want and aren't yet winning at or feel like you're winning at, or the stuff that you don't like and you want to get rid of or turn into something that you do love. That's the part you have to make it happen. And so that's my biggest thing is the stuff that you love, keep it, double down on it, triple down on it, whatever. And the stuff that you don't like, make it happen. You know, stuff that you want to create, make it happen. You know, no one's going to do anything for you pretty much. And if you do, that's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's all about what you do. And so those two things, if you do those and you understand those, you'll at least be happy, which to me, that's success. You know, if you get really rich from it, if you end up with the best family from it, if you end up just loving life and you don't care about family or money or whatever, it doesn't matter. If you enjoy the one life you have, that is success, especially when 99% of people don't.
Yeah.
And so that's really it for me.
Okay. My real last thing is shout outs. Anything you want people to check out, any of your channels, just any tags.
Sure.
People to check out.
Check me out on YouTube, Blake Wynn, on Instagram at just_Wynn, WYNN. Of course, you can add me on LinkedIn, Blake Wynn. You can add me on Twitter, justwin_. Just started TikTok. So
yeah, I saw that.
If you want to be one of my first 20 followers on TikTok, you can add me at just_Wynn. That I'm gonna make it on TikTok one day, but I want to use it as a rebranding opportunity because I want to essentially cut clips and make it very entrepreneurial, more Gary Vee, more so than Kais Omar or other sneaker people.
Yeah.
And I already have this massive library of content through my YouTube videos, and so having my editor cut those up and make good content for it, and doing different collaborations with different TikTok kids that I know, and so follow me on there. But yeah, I mean, catch me at a Chargers game. If you ever see me on the field, come over to that section and call me up. I'll take pictures, sign stuff, whatever. I mean, honestly, I'm not that hard to access. I'm always in my DMs, so you can send me a message. I don't remember if you reached out to me. I think I might have actually reached out to you to be on this podcast.
Yeah, I was surprised.
I do that all the time, man. I try to stay as super aware of just what's happening in as space as possible. And I don't remember where I stumbled across you, but nonetheless, I was like, let's do it. Maybe did you do anything with Casey Adams?
I did have something with Casey, but I thought it might have been something from Gary, a comment on his post, but I'm not sure. I did have a video with Casey though.
Definitely wasn't that. Okay, it was something. I think I saw you on Casey's story, something like that.
Yeah, but yeah, dude, I was just I posted a couple clips and I was like, yo, Casey, can you put these in your story? Because most people won't post I mean, I don't expect it to post in their feed. So I'm like, hey, would you mind sharing this in your story so that some other people will check it out as well?
Yeah, when you post this episode, let me know. I'll for sure put you on my story, do the swipe up link, whatever. But yeah, so if you were on Casey's story, that's definitely where I found it.
Yeah, dude. But talking about TikTok, dude, it's insane. It's really weird because some really weird content goes viral and some doesn't. My brother did it for 3 months and he has almost 30K followers from his videos, which some of them are funny, but in the very beginning, it was just his first video that got almost 7,000 views was the Mario Kart theme song, and he was just he turned on a sink, threw something in the toilet, and that literally threw a piece of paper in the toilet and flushed it, and he was middle schoolers, and when you're in middle school and a shit ton of people just started commenting on it, and I was like, what is this? He's like, this is insane. He's like, this is ridiculous. But now it's videos with almost 500,000 views because we found a turtle, and I was like, yo, you should pretend you're making a Ninja Turtle. So we took the turtle, we put it back into the pond, but we had a video with it in the bin, and then he was how to make a Ninja Turtle, and he dropped a bandana in there, a red bandana, and then he took the container and threw it at the sewer because it was empty, just so everybody knows there's no turtle in it. And then he was wait 5 dog years or 5 turtle years, which is 10 dog years, and then it got over 500,000 views, and I was it's insane, man. But I'll post stuff and I'm just 2 likes, and I'm cool. I think someone knows what they're doing.
Yeah, my first TikTok, let me see, looking right now.
Yeah.
One TikTok, I have 11 followers. It has 43 views and 7 likes. So you'll see, everyone's starting somewhere on something at all times. So
what's your TikTok again? I'm going to give you a follow right now.
just_Wynn. I made one that is not at all in line with what I'm going to make. I just literally made it to post to just see how it worked because I didn't know. And I was at this light festival. So You can see the video, but yeah.
Yes, I saw you post something like that.
So stupid. Just like I literally wanted to like see how the app works. Like when you make a video, like how do you caption it? Like where do you post it? Like how does it post? Like what it looks like? Like I literally didn't even know how the interface was. So that's all that was.
It's honestly just do anything and keep doing a lot of anything until it catches attention, and then just continue to do that. Like my brother, he likes to downplay what he's doing because he is creative and funny, but he's just like, dude, all I do is take my shirt off and flex. And then he's like, as much as this sounds bad, just a bunch of girls think that it looks good. And he's like, it's just a bunch of middle school girls. So if I just take off my shirt and flex, I will go viral. And he's like, it's stupid, but it works.
There you go. I mean, honestly, I also want to see the way that this thing ends up getting monetized and things. So there's definitely a lot to watch out for. It's definitely at an exciting point in its life cycle where it's either going to get really big or it's going to fall off. I think that they should let Facebook buy it because Facebook will make it sustainable. But nonetheless, I mean, you know, this is my opinion, and they clearly have something figured out. They've done this well, so they come this far. So will definitely be exciting to see. But dude, thank you for having me on it. Thank you for seeing the DM and stuff like that too. I know that I felt like easily could missed.
Yeah, we took a while to get on due to me with some things coming up. But
I was in Paris for like 10 days and all the stuff. Like definitely was so much like back and forth, and it is definitely hard to schedule stuff. But I'm glad we were able to make it happen. This was like a perfect time for it.
For sure.